Howdy Everybody, how y'all doing? And welcome to the Ice House, where we try to keep things cool, calm, collected, and mostly a bit chill. And you know, a lot of that is because the world around us isn't always that chill, right? And if you've been on the parasocial networks and, well, seen a lot of these threads this week, maybe you've just been watching some, well, stuff on YouTube or on TV, and you get a lot of advertisements, right? So probably, unless you've been avoiding all that stuff, no screen time, and you don't listen to the radio, then you've probably been thinking about blue jeans at least a few times this week, right? And you know what I'm talking about. Because, well, and like I said in my PSA yesterday, and, whether you missed it or not, it was a little bit of tongue-in-beak about just how advertising is winning this week. Because, whether you like the product or you agree with how it's being presented or the choices that the company made in everything, the fact that everybody's talking about it, I mean, that means American Eagle, they did something right. At least as far as advertising their product and getting a buzz about it goes. I mean, so there's that. And I think it's funny because, well, I mean, up until the last 5 years of body positivity, right? And those social experiments that seem to have varying results, and I don't know if I would say the world is healing or that the woke is disappearing, right? But as far as trends go, as far as, well, trying to appeal to the consumer base and customer base that will actually pay, I think we're starting to get advertising that has a timelessly tried and true method, right? And it's not just because, just the few years before all this crap. It's just, I think we all know that, as Marilyn Manson put it, the beautiful people are the ones that people, well, the celebrities, the celebrity status, the influencers, whether it's social media influencers or whatnot. But there's always been that upper tier of people that, well, there's a lot of people, they want to be like that person, or they really like that person and think they're attractive and they want them to do well. So those people end up being spokespeople for a lot of these companies, a lot of these ad campaigns. And it's not that I think there's anything fundamentally against seeing somebody that looks like anybody I would see on the street. But when I can see people on the street wearing jeans, and, well, I'm glad they're wearing clothes, if I see somebody that I look up to, not because I'm short, but somebody that I think, man, I mean, I wish I could look that good in jeans because, well, I'm a penguin, and side note, I know that I don't have the body type for any human clothing, so no matter who it is, I know I won't look that good in it, but still, there's that, again, the appeal of something attractive, something appealing, something that draws you to it, is just advertisement, sales, all that 101, right? So, and then here's the thing, right? It's very capitalistic, and that's important because the whole thing about advertising and wanting money and wanting to expand your business is just kind of the American way. And whether Superman said it or not, I'm gonna say it right here and right now. Because, well, I mean, how do you expand a business? How do you grow a business? How do you support staff and all that without, getting people to buy your stuff? So then, now that we have that all established, I was really thinking about the fact in this whole thing about, well, people getting upset because they think it's un-American, people saying that it's fascist and terrible, that Sydney Sweeney is being used because she's attractive to sell clothes, right? It just befuddles me entirely. And I'm not gonna go into all the meltdown videos that I'm sure you guys have all seen. But what I am gonna go into is that, well, the thing that I've been trying to figure out most is, why has Sydney Sweeney been the unrelatable villain of the week, right? Because clearly she's too attractive. Clearly she's too successful, right? Clearly she has star and brand power, right? Because everybody knows who she is, and most people, aren't terribly threatened by her. But all of a sudden, she's in an advertisement where it kind of reminds me of in junior high, right? There's that attractive girl that she knows how guys work, and maybe she had a bunch of brothers, and she's a flirt, and she knows that she has good genes, right? She has natural qualities that appeal to men. I'll just put it that way. And so she knows how to toy with them and get what they want, right? And there's never any promise, and it doesn't really go anywhere. You see this trope in TV shows and movies all the time, right? And it's just one of those things. And so I got to thinking, maybe that's why Sydney Sweeney is the unrelatable villain of the week. Because, for all the people that are perpetually, since being online just feels like we're somewhere stuck between junior high and high school, right? All these people that didn't get the good genes, right? The people that were jealous of those interactions, or maybe awkward in high school and that didn't know how to figure out how to connect with people and on an authentic level. Because let's face it, we all learned how to cope in our own ways, and most of us haven't really grown past that since. Let's be honest. We can find people that we naturally connect with, but it takes a lot of work to figure out how to connect and overcome certain, assumptions about life or people, right? It takes a much bigger sort of interaction than just, there's an advertisement and I'm mad it exists. We're probably not going to become, friends in that point, right? I digress. But the point is, it kind of seems like a lot of this frustration might be because the character that she's portraying in these ads. Because I don't remember people being so mad at Sydney Sweeney just for existing and being an attractive icon, right? Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's some of the way she's been portrayed in some of the advertisements and campaigns she's been in lately that are pushing a certain crowd to be maybe reminiscent more of the junior high days and the junior high politics that I think are kind of silly in a lot of ways. And I don't know, this idea that somebody is, offending you, or you're under attack because of their existence, or because advertising are going in your direction, or when you open up your Twitter feed and you just see people talking about what's trending and you don't like it, and so therefore somehow it's an offense to you, a personal offense out to get you, right? I don't understand that at all, because the world's big and there's a lot of things going on, and like I said, in this case, the advertising worked. But the other thing is this isn't the raciest ad that we've ever seen. Like I said, we know we've had a few years of maybe the body positivity stuff going on. But I remember around the turn of the century when some of these, clothing stores that you would see in a mall, if malls, people still go to malls nowadays, but, they were advertising, models that were hardly wearing any clothes. Some of them might have been in Le Bouffe, and, there was a lot of backlash over that because, it's one thing to use attractive people to sell stuff, but if the attractive people aren't even modeling the clothes, that's a whole different sort of magazine entirely. And, I don't know, makes me not want to look at the mirror, in the mirror myself, because once again, I don't know. I know that I don't have the kind of body type that those models have, right? Yeah, I look like a football. Let's be real. So yeah, and that's kind of my assessment of maybe thinking why all this stuff is wall the backlash when it really isn't the most sexualized or racy advertisement we've seen. I mean, even from a standard clothing company in the last 20 years. Not to mention all the, other, brands and underwear stuff and, those kind of ads and stores that do big things. And so it seems weird because it just seems like it's walking a line, and they're trying to walk it very intentionally, and they're still getting a crap ton of backlash because nobody's ever happy. This reminds me of that whole, ad campaign that we got kind of played off between the 80s, 90s, and even now, right? Because, there was, I think it was the Wendy's was like, where's the beef, And then in the 90s, you couldn't go anywhere without the whole advertisement of beef, it's what's for dinner. Because USDA Prime, grade A beef was still good for us back then. It was red meat, it had a protein, helped us so when we stood up too fast, we didn't, feel all woozy and all that jazz. And sometimes I wonder if all this switched to all these weird diets of vegetables and bugs and alternatives is just, we've left the cows out farting in the field, but maybe instead of taking the beef off the table and throwing it at each other all the time, whether in person or politics or online, maybe if we just sat down with a nice, meal of steak and potatoes, we might be more content, not so angry, and realize that it's just the world turning around once again. And you know what? At some point in time, you might have to buy jeans again. So maybe you'll go to American Eagle, or maybe you'll go somewhere else, right? That's up to you. So that's all I got for today. So, if you got any thoughts or comments, I'd love to hear them down below. If you want to like and subscribe or share it out, I'd really appreciate that. And, take care of yourself and take care of each other. So, until next time, we'll see you later. Bye!